This is the WWE NXT August 5, 2025 full show results video. The show started with a match between Blake Monroe vs Kalani Jordan. The match starts off with Kalani Jordan wasting no time and going after Blake Monroe. She hits an arm drag and a dropkick on Monroe, then follows it up with a crossbody and wears Monroe down with a submission, but Monroe sends Jordan out of the ring and hits a dropkick on her under the bottom rope. Monroe then gets Jordan back in the ring as we see a mystery person pull up to the performance center. Monroe then hits a sling blade on Jordan, but Jordan responds with a split-legged stunner on Monroe and cinches in a half Boston Crab. Monroe then grabs the bottom rope to escape, but Jordan flies off the top rope. Monroe then hits a headbutt on Jordan. Jordynne Grace's music then hits, and she storms to the ring. Monroe then escapes through a side door in the arena and hops into a waiting car to escape. The referee then begins a 10 count, but Monroe is obviously unable to return to the ring with the car having taken off, and the winner of this match was Kalani Jordan via countout. Backstage, Cale Dixon and Uriah Connors ask Andre Chase about their match odds. Chase says there's a 1 in a million chance, but the duo takes it positively, with Cale quoting Dumb and Dumber. The next match happened between Hank and Tank vs Chase U for the NXT Tag Team Championship. The match starts off with Cale Dixon and Hank Walker, and Dixon goes after Walker. Connors then tags in and hits an assisted powerbomb on Walker with Dixon. Walker then sends Connors onto the apron, but Connors hits a spinning kick on Walker's spine. Walker then intercepts Connors with a kick to his face, then tags in Ledger. Ledger then aids Walker in hitting a flapjack on Connors before he exchanges right hands with Connors. Dixon then tags in and rolls up Ledger, but Ledger kicks out. Then Dixon low bridges Ledger out of the ring and flies over the top rope to nail Walker and Ledger on the outside. He then sends him back inside the ring, climbs to the top rope, and looks to fly. Ledger then rolls out of the way, and Walker hits a spinning sidewalk slam on Dixon. Walker and Ledger then look to hit a double splash on Dixon, but Connors pushes Dixon out of the way and takes the move from him. Walker and Ledger then hit a double splash on Dixon, then hit an over-the-shoulder powerslam clothesline combination on Dixon for the pinfall victory to retain the NXT Tag Team Championship. After the match, Dark State appears and beats down Connors, Dixon, Chase, Ledger, and Walker. They then hit a quadruple powerbomb on Ledger and stand tall. We then see Fatal Influence chatting backstage, and they are then approached by the personal concierge, who says Ash by Elegance sent him to inform JC Jane that Ash will become Knockouts World Champion this Thursday. JC then brushes him off, then Lainey Reed shows up and says that's Jasmine's job, and JC tells her to go shine it. We then see Miles Bourne and Tavian Heights dapping it up backstage, with Tavian wishing Bourne luck in his upcoming match against Lexis King. We then see Tatum Paxley is anxious about her match with Soul Ruca, and Izzy Dame says that she and the Culling believe in her. She then says this is Tatum's moment, and she gets excited for the match. The next match happened between Lexis King vs Miles Bourne. Lexis King started strong, grounding Bourne with a side headlock and hitting a springboard crossbody for a near fall. Bourne fired back with a shoulder tackle, back suplex, and Ushigoroshi, drawing Baby Randy chants from the crowd. The action spilled outside, with both men trading momentum before Bourne landed a big plancha. Back in the ring, Bourne hit a tilt-a-whirl backbreaker, but King responded viciously, sending Bourne into the turnbuckle, locking in a guillotine, then stomping on his ear against the steps. King continued the assault with a corner dropkick, but Bourne shook it off, rallying with a power slam, belly-to-belly, and back suplex. He sealed the win with a famouser, overcoming King's brutality in a hard-fought battle. We then head to the back, where Dark State mocks Hank and Tank with Osiris saying they are the people who took them out. Sugars then says they have had them in their sights for a while. Cuddler then says they will be right up their asses, and Dion says they aren't done yet before walking off. The next match happened between Nia Jax vs Thea Hale. Thea Hale brought heart and hustle against the dominant Nia Jax, but the size difference was undeniable. Hale tried to control the pace early with a chinlock and low dropkick, but a failed crossbody attempt saw her bounce off Jax like a brick wall. Jax punished Hale with a Samoan drop, ring post attacks, and brutal slams, wearing her down with rope chokes and corner beatdowns. Despite the onslaught, Hale refused to quit, firing up with a slick enzwajiri, corner hip attack, and a tornado DDT that stunned the powerhouse. She even landed a springboard senton and climbed the ropes for a high-risk move, but Jax shut it all down. After tripping Hale up, Jax hit brutal hip strikes and finished her off with the devastating Annihilator for the win. After the match, Kelly Kincaid interviews Nia Jax in the ring. Jax says she imposes her will in the ring. She then talks about winning championships and defeating Hall of Famers and asks what Lash Legend has done. Lash Legend then makes her way down to the ring and throws hands at Nia Jax, then security then runs out to pull both women apart. We then see Jordynne Grace pacing in Ava's office, and Ava says she wants to talk about Heatwave. She then says Jordynne will face Blake at Heatwave, then Ava says Blake deserves to get her ass kicked. WWE NXT champion Oba Femi hits the ring and reminds everyone that despite fierce challenges from Yoshiki Inamura and Josh Briggs, he's still champion after over 200 days, nothing has changed. Trick Williams interrupts, calling Femi a big dog while declaring himself the man carrying 2 brands. Femi fires back, saying Williams has never beaten him. Trick then reveals his ambition to hold both the NXT and TNA World Championships. J. Von Evans enters and gets in Trick's face, but Trick tells him to back off. Femi, amused, leaves them to argue. TNA star Moose arrives next, warning Trick about their upcoming clash at Emergence and reminding Femi he hasn't forgotten him either. Suddenly, Darkstate storms the ring and attacks everyone. Chaos breaks out, but Femi, Moose, Trick, and Evans unite to fend off the group and clear the ring. Security rushes in to separate everyone as tensions boil over. We then see Stax in the back, and Ariana Grace stops by to say hello and see how he is doing. Stax then says Inamura will pay for what he did. Lash Legend and Nia Jax then continue to brawl in the area. Ren Sinclair then says there is more Ren Sinclair Charles quality time. Dempsey then says he trained Miles and Tavian too well. Sinclair then starts to sing Joe Hendry's music, and Dempsey says he won't appear. Hendry then appears out of the refrigerator, and Dempsey wants to know why Hendry is here. Hendry then says he has something just for him, and then Hendry gives Dempsey some clothing. Dempsey then says Hendry is a virus and an infection. Hendry then says why not have a wrestling match next week, and Sinclair says the sourpuss accepts. Sinclair then asks for a photo. Then we saw a match between Channing Stax Lorenzo versus Yoshiki Inamura. We see Ariana Grace appear at ringside and slap Inamura, asking who he thinks he is and telling him that Stax is her man. As the referee deals with Grace, Josh Briggs slides into the ring and hits a big boot on Inamura, then Stax pins him for the pinfall victory. Ethan Page is seen backstage before heading to the ring, proudly announcing it's his 70th day as North American champion and declaring himself the greatest of all time. He mocks Santino Marella's failed challenge, boasting about Canadian excellence and listing icons like Alexander Graham Bell, Wayne Gretzky, and Bret Hart, claiming he tops them all. Page demands the crowd honor him as he begins to sing "O Canada." Before he can finish, Tavian Heights interrupts, calling Page a Canadian goose and reminding everyone he represented Team USA in the Olympics with energy to spare. Page tries to defuse the situation, but Heights isn't listening. Suddenly, Chelsea Green arrives with Piper Niven and Alba Fire. Green praises Page as a model Canadian and demands that the Heights apologize for interrupting the anthem. Heights isn't having it, he ignores Green and drops Page with a punch, making his intentions crystal clear. Fallon Henley and JC Jane are then shown trash-talking Kalani Jordan and Lola Vice in the locker room. Jasmine Nix then brings both of Jane's title belts to Jane. Nix then talks about how she talked to Ava and got Jane and Henley booked in a match against Vice and Jordan next week. We see Henley and Jane didn't like it. We then see Sol Ruca and Zarya hanging out backstage. The camera then pans over to Nia Jax and Lash Legend still brawling. Ava then shows up and books Lash Legend versus Nia Jax for next week. J-Yvonne, Moose, Trick, and Oba are all in Ava's office, then Ava walks in and says Trick versus J-Yvonne is in 2 weeks for a shot at Oba. Ava then says next week, all 4 of them take on Darkstate in an 8-man tag. Hank and Tank then come in and want Darkstate, then Ava says Darkstate will challenge for the tag titles at Heatwave, and then orders everyone to go out. Kelly Kincaid sits down with Ricky Saints, who admits he has a target on his back, but says he put it there himself. He calls out Ethan Page for being jealous and Jasper Troy for wanting what he has. Saints says Page is desperate and calculated, while Jasper is young, angry, and unpredictable. Despite the chaos, Saints isn't frustrated, he knows everyone wants to make it to Raw or SmackDown, but his focus is the NXT title. He promises that in 2 weeks in Philly, things won't end the same as last time with Jasper Troy. In the main event of the show, we saw a match between Sol Ruca versus Tatum Paxley for the NXT Women's North American Championship. Soul Ruca and Tatum Paxley delivered a wild, chaotic showdown packed with athleticism, mind games, and total ringside mayhem. Ruca started strong with slick grappling and an impressive slingshot X-Factor, but interference from Shawn Spears and a ringside distraction involving Zarya turned the tide. Paxley punished Ruca with vicious strikes, neckbreakers, and submission holds, grinding her down. Ruca fired back with her signature agility, landing a flying shoulder tackle, thrust kicks, and a backpack slam, but Paxley wouldn't stay down. The match escalated as Paxley hit a springboard whisper in the wind and a top rope neckbreaker. Spears attempted to hand Paxley a creepy doll mid-match, but chaos erupted when Nia Jax and Lash Legend brawled to ringside, with Legend spearing Jax through a barricade. The distraction gave Ruca just enough time to recover and hit the Soul Snatcher for the win in a match that blended high-flying action with pure ringside madness. After the match, Soul Ruca and Zarya celebrate the win while the culling goes back up the ramp and the show comes to a close. How much would you rate this week's NXT show? Tell me in the comments, and thanks for watching.